Just having technical difficulties in here. My internet stinks, so hang on, I'm going to try to get on my personal hotspot so you guys don't have any problems. Okay, hopefully that works. Oh, Anna and Joey jumped on at the same time. Danielle, you're letting me down. Anna and Joey beat you on. Joey says me first. Oh, hi, Ellen. Hi, Ashley. Thank you guys for being here. Who all had to hit the record button on the CMA Awards? Any of y'all watching that? I was watching it for a minute, actually. I just turned my TV off so I'm not distracted. Let's see who else comes on. Joey, you and Danielle crack me up. Hi, Aunt Donna. Always here. Love it. Well, happy Wednesday. Thanks for being on. I'm curious to see what our turnout's going to be like, because here in Nashville, so many people watch the CMAs, and some of them are actually, I'm sure, there. But my first news is it's official. I can't see anymore. So I do have my glasses in my hand. They're probably going to end up being on at some point. And every day I think my eyes are getting worse and worse. Like I literally cannot see. So you might see these go on. I don't like to wear them when I'm doing these because there's a glare in them, but I can't see sometimes, so they might have to go on. Hope you guys are great. It's cold and freezing here in Nashville. Aunt Donna, you're probably nice and warm. So I'm missing Florida about right now. But today is a topic that I can talk about pretty easily. It's talking about embracing the suck. Dealing with difficult times, learning to navigate difficult times, and finding the opportunities in those times for personal growth. So if you haven't already been through something difficult or challenging or scary, there's a good chance you will. My guess is you probably already have. Ellen, thank you for sharing your story in this group. And I love hearing things like that. It really is inspiring to other people too, especially those that haven't really been through a lot. And it gives you courage in the change. So anyone else that has stories like that, I love you to share them here. It really does make a difference. So if you haven't been through anything dramatic or tragic, like I said, you will at some point in your life, but I know we've all experienced change of some sort. So I posted earlier, and I think that's why Ellen commented, but think back in your life when you have dealt with things that were difficult or scary, or even just change in general. There's a benefit to being aware of how you dealt with that. Either you see where the growth came from that, or you made a mistake and you can learn from how you handled it. So I would encourage you in your quiet time or when you're journaling to really go back and think about every time in your life that you dealt with change, difficulty, and write down where you grew, how your life was redirected, how it changed, and document that, and go back and reference that when something uproots you, because you'll learn it'll help you trust in the waiting, if that makes sense. So I would encourage you to do that in your journals, and go back and revisit it, and you'll be adding to it, unfortunately, quite a bit. But there is, in my life, as most of y'all know, I have my biggest time period of growth, the redirection of my life, was the most difficult thing I have ever been through, and probably more difficult than anything that any of you guys, not all of you, because we've all dealt with, we've all had hard stuff, but I went through a lot all at once. But it completely redirected my life and brought me to my purpose, to my passion of my kickboxing studios, helping women and men find and live their best lives, and doing Hash Out with Heather, and doing my first workshop on Sunday. We'll talk about this in a minute, but I am grateful for that time. I'm not grateful for the people that got hurt during that time. I'm not grateful for my kids' pain that they experienced, but that circumstance, that very long 4 or 5 year situation, took me on a path to living my dream. So I want to talk a little bit about that first. God never said life was going to be easy, did he? So I want, listen, change and challenge and difficulties are never going to, they're never going to be easy. I don't know that we're going to cheer them on, but we can learn to look for the opportunities during the time, in the waiting. And hear me loud and clear when I say, I know how hard it is to find that, to look for that opportunity. So I want to share a couple things that happened in my life and just the lessons, the growth that I had from them. So, one, going back to like my parents being divorced. Many of you have parents that are divorced, but even that taught me resilience. I think a lot of my work ethic came from that because my mom always worked 1 or 2 jobs. I worked from the time I was 13 because we didn't have a lot of money. So maybe I'd have the work ethic if they didn't get divorced, maybe. But I definitely, looking back, I have empathy for being raised in a single parent household. Again, definitely resilience. There was growth in that, and I don't feel like a victim at all because of that. It's much more commonplace now. Back then, it wasn't. So there were times that I felt very lonely because most of my friends' parents were married. But definitely learned work ethic, resilience, empathy. When my mom died, that is super hard when I was in it to find any opportunity for personal growth in that. Danielle, I know you dealt with that with your brother. It's hard to be in that and go, what good possibly is in this difficult time, this circumstance? The loss of my mom was one of the most painful things I had been through. She was young, I was young, and she died of cancer, as most of you guys know, pretty quickly after she was diagnosed. But there is good that came from that. I would go back in a second and have my mom back. So hear me loud and clear when I say that. But that's not, I can't do that. So what did I learn from that? How did I grow from that? Well, I learned and have an understanding of the grieving process, how I grieved. And then I watched other people grieve. And I can now understand when someone talks to me, one of my members talks to me, one of my friends talks to me about what they're going through if they have just had loss. I understand the grieving process. I unfortunately have been through it multiple times with my mom and my sister and others. So I have a compassion for the caregivers. And I've used that many times since my mom and my sister died, because it's hard, we're so worried about them and their illness and what they're going through. But I understand how the person taking care of them, the daughter, the son, the brother, the sister, how what they're going through when they're trying to be strong and stay focused when they're also crushed inside and dying inside. So I understand. I have more compassion for that. I have empathy for the person that is sick. I understand what my mom was going through. I'll never say that I know how she felt, but being with her every day before she died gave me a whole different understanding of what someone is experiencing and feeling when they're dying. And I've told this story before, but emotions are very high when someone's fighting for their life. When she was battling lung cancer and brain cancer and bone cancer, because it had spread everywhere. And so one day specifically, I remember I was trying to pay her bills